Hey everybody, we're here in Sharjah, UAE, visiting Aliyo Hydrofarms, and I'm sitting down with the founder and managing director, Tarannum Malik. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
So good to see you, and I just had the opportunity to tour your two spaces, both 6,000 square feet of vertical farming space. Tell us a little bit about what we're growing here.
So we have three verticals to the company. We are growing fodder for livestock. We grow rooted vegetables, that is garlic, greens and spring onions, a few range of microgreens, and we also do pickling and spices from our own produce to avoid zero waste.
So we've got fodder, we've got things like the garlic, the green garlic, spring onion, some microgreens, and then you're taking some of those products and creating added value. What is it? What are the products?
We are making pickles and spices.
Pickles and spices.
We do handmade hand pickles of garlic, chutneys, and we roast the leaves to make spices and seasonings.
Nice. I mean, that added value approach is very smart to create a vertically integrated business. You're sourcing all the ingredients. You can get a bit better price in the market for some of those products.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the origin story? How did you get started?
So my mother and I started the company. We were the founders and we still are. And she was the inspiration behind it. And one important question that she asked was that, think about the future, you may not have it. And that was the question that really rung bells in my head and said that, it's time to not selfishly think about us, but only me, but think about the collaborative effort of the world and see how we can start growing. And instead of growing the run-of-the-mill products like lettuce and vegetables, we wanted to start with the indirect consumption of fodder that we can feed the animals and ultimately the animals can feed us better.
I think it's so inspiring whenever I hear about family businesses like yours, number one. But in addition to that, you took this was during COVID, right?
This was during
You
COVID.
took the COVID crisis, this very terrible pandemic, and you created something beneficial out of that. You worked together as a family, created and invented something. You were experimenting at home, we talked about that. It started very, very small, and now you're here having this commercial business. What have been some of the greatest challenges on that journey for you?
First, setting up the entire facility, doing the R&D ourselves, and ultimately now that we've overcome those steps, because that was the easy bit to do, the harder part is getting the product out there and creating awareness for this and making people realize that this is the time, it's need of the hour, it's not the future anymore.
So to people who have to tell you why do this, why grow this locally, what are the reasons why you would produce these products locally?
Particularly in this region, because we are in the desert, everything is imported. Now that because the government is a lot more encouraging towards growing your own food, but still fodder is something that is hard to grow outside in the desert. It does need a little bit of effort to grow it in-house. So this is required, and giving fresh grass kind of alleviates the health of the animal, which is required instead of just feeding them packaged feed. So we need to stop that, or rather reduce it, and also incorporate fresh grass, which we are growing without any pesticides or fertilizers, only by water, and no substrate also. So it's something that they can consume the fiber, the protein and the chlorophyll directly every day fresh, which will act as a replacement to the pasture grass that they are inhabitant to eating.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an exciting potential impact, right? Because there's about 5.5 million heads of animals here in the UAE.
Correct.
90% of that food for them is imported, and they want to have these animals here. They want to have some of that as part of food security, and there's businesses around that, but sourcing all that fodder is very difficult. So that's something you're passionate about, but then you also discovered that there's gaps in the supply of spring onions or green garlic. Can you tell us about how you found other gaps in the market as you moved from fodder into these other products?
Particularly growing green garlic wasn't a gap in the market that we thought of, because when we come from the Indian Asian background, green garlic is more of a delicacy that is only consumed 2 months in a year, because that is the time that it only grows. But adding and looking at the prevailing COVID situation and the health benefits, we thought that garlic is antioxidant that is required. It is an energy booster and an immune booster. So that was the reason why we started doing garlic.
Right.
And it's no more, we are not treating it as a delicacy anymore. We want to take it into the common food basket and make it an everyday product. So that is the reason that we are growing this here. It's not available, so we are making the availability now.
I think it's great to focus on, bringing new products to the market and this idea of nutrition, especially inspired by COVID and the health issues with that. But how do you convince people? How are you you said it's one of the challenges, but what are some things you've seen that have been successful to convince people to consume more of these healthy local products you're growing?
Garlic is not a very unknown product. Garlic is garlic. Everybody likes garlic. It's just that what we are adding is giving it with the root and giving it with the leaf. Now the benefit in there is the health benefits that we are propagating, and it's something that everybody understands. And the more important to the consumer is the taste. If they like a good product and it's tasty, that's the first.
They'll come back.
They come back to it, and at the end of the day, in the bargain, you're also giving them a nutritious product, which is good for their health.
Well, it's definitely tasty. I can testify to that.
Thank you.
So as we wrap up a little bit, I want to talk about technology, right? So, obviously this is a tech-focused business, and we got to see your farm and see some of the tech innovations you have. You don't have to talk about all of them, but how did you approach the technology challenges in vertical farming? What are some of the things you can share with us to reduce, in particular, the capital cost, which is so prohibitive for people to build these vertical farms?
We are not doing anything, fancy per se. We are taking our experience from the kitchen, from the other life experiences, and just making use of that. How we can build something that doesn't have to be fancy looking, but actually has to serve the purpose. So where we can conserve water, we are conserving water. Where we can save light, we are doing that. And if we can build something by ourselves which serves our purpose, why not? We don't have to go wasting time hunting for somebody or something. We can rather just make use of our own hand tools and make it ourselves.
Yeah, it was so cool to see the things you've built and invented and manufactured. And I love what you said about, who cares if your farm is fancy? All that matters is that you're growing a high quality product.
Yeah.
And I think in vertical farming, a lot of people are building vertical farms and trying to raise money versus focusing on growing a product at a low cost of production.
Yeah.
So I think over time that's really going to benefit you. You're not some Instagram farm, it's a farm for the customers.
Sure.
And I think that's really exciting. One of the cool innovations, if I can share, is the atmospheric water generators that you use to capture humidity and use that for the water in your farm. So even in this climate where it's very hot and there's a lack of water, you found a solution to make even the limited water you use in your recirculating system more sustainable, which I really admire. I think that's really cool. It's an extra step.
Thank you.
So as we wrap up, what is your vision for the future for Aliyo Hydrofarms? What do you want to see in 5-10 years?
We need to have more branches of Aliyo all over the world, trying to get the fodder to the animals with the need. It's unfortunate that animals can't speak and make a choice of what they want to eat. If there was a hypermarket, I'm sure our fodder would be the first.
They'd be lining up outside. They say, "Give us the fodder." Yeah.
Correct. That's what I want them to do.
Yeah.
Make their own choice and go back to eating what they're supposed to eat rather than eating what we are feeding them at the moment.
I've seen some of the videos where there's fresh fodder and the dry fodder, and you give the animals the choice, and they just go for the fresh fodder. They know. They know. Like we know what's good for us as well.
Correct.
So I think that's a really important and impactful idea. And just, I guess it's also interesting to other entrepreneurs. What's your background? Are you a farmer? Are you a scientist?
I'm actually a finance person.
Finance person. Okay, great. That's good. That's also helpful as a founder and a managing director. And so that's going to benefit you as well, of course. Well, I'm so happy and honored that I got to visit your farm, meet your family today, and taste your product, and wish you the best with your growth. Definitely check out Aliyo Farms. You can find them on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and you can also reach out to them if you have interest in their products or collaborating with them as they expand around the world. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.